Keanu Reeves didn't train for 3 months for nothing. The guy has given NASCAR racing a run for their money with his 180 drifts and high-speed chases. Of course, not without a handful of on-set injuries and accidents, though. Let's get into it. This was a major aspect of his training that definitely deserves its own highlight.
I got to do some more driving, and not just any ordinary driving.
Yeah, I'm talking about some extraordinary driving. Driving that you would never want to do with mom in the car. They took the car stunts to a whole nother level.
They're more complex now than they used to be.
And luckily for Keanu, he really enjoyed it.
It was really fun to be in the car again.
He had to do some high-speed 180s and 270s, but the hardest scene he had to master was when he did a reverse 180 and drift while reloading his prop gun and shooting out the freaking door. Major props to Keanu and his stunt team on that one. You should know that after 4 movies, Keanu Reeves is no one to be messed with. The guy must be made of, like, steel or something.
There's car foo, gun foo, and now sword foo. There's lots of fooling around.
He's known for doing as many stunts as possible, so obviously he had to go through some brutal training in order to get there. Like, the guy trained for 12 weeks to achieve what they called the toolbox. Basically, a toolbox of skills that he could utilize for the films. He literally learned how to stunt drive like the pros, the art of judo, jujitsu, and how to professionally wield nunchucks. He describes this film as the most difficult physical role he's had in his entire career. And like, the fact that it took 4 of these movies for him to say that is really something else.
Gun training, martial arts training, driving training.
He's always first man there, last man to leave.
Our guy was training 5 days a week for 8 hours a day, and it truly seems like he was having a great time doing it.
When it's time to hit the gym or hit a specific skill set, he's always there. He's always been incredibly involved.
Of course, it also helps that he's been trained by some of the best stunt coordinators and performers in the biz.
I never worked with an actor who's willing to work that hard, train that hard. You guy's an animal.
Like, I didn't think it was possible to be more impressed with Keanu Reeves, but here we are. There's a super intense scene where he's just blasting through guys left and right, and the camera is hovering just above him. Yeah, that was just multiple really long takes. There weren't a ton of cuts happening in that moment.
It was pretty high pressure.
But luckily, the cameras were automated, so it was a lot less work for the crew. But it didn't take any weight from Keanu's shoulders. He couldn't see the cameras, but they did have certain movements programmed into them, so he had to make sure he was in sync with every one of them. If there was just one little mistake, he had to reset from the beginning. And I don't know exactly how many takes it took him, but knowing Keanu, I would probably be incredibly impressed with that number. Naturally, though, mistakes were made. Some of them hospital-inducing. You know there had to be at least a few injuries on the set of this movie. I'm actually more surprised at how few there were.
I made a mistake once. I cut a gentleman's head open.
Ouch. Okay, brutal. That's gotta be the worst of it, right?
Well, one guy got hit by a car. He was in the car. He had to go to the hospital.
Fortunately, there weren't any other major accidents. None that were accounted for in the media anyway, but yeah.
So that really sucked. Excuse my language.
Donnie put a lot of thought into the fighting style of Kane. It wasn't even really about the martial arts for him. It was more about his personality. In any of his films, he never really focuses on the style of martial arts when it comes to developing how his character fights.
This guy, he's family man, introvert, calm, walk slow, talk slow.
So that's probably not something we, as the audience, would pick up on, right? But you can see those personality traits show up in, like, every fight scene.
Therefore, his movements is very reserved. He only reacts to an outside force.